childhood. Um, I'm interested in this process, and I hear that part of this day today was to hear the stories of the officers who work directly in this neighborhood and on these streets. And I'm not satisfied with what I heard as being success stories, and I have a couple questions if you're willing. So, in your case, you said you were working with a woman who had approached you on the street who was in an abusive relationship, and you introduced her to the domestic violence team. You spent time with her, and you gave her a cell phone. Did you connect her to a women's organization or call the transition house in the neighborhood and try to get her in there?
We did. We tried. She moved twice during the time that we were dealing with her, and her boyfriend had already been taken into custody once on a harassment matter. He was bound by conditions not to contact her in any way. We had a no-go to the area. Unfortunately, he breached those conditions on the day that he broke into her suite. So,
yeah, but we know that men often breach conditions. It's just a piece of paper. Like, they're not that intimidated by it. And the reality is that what happens when you get a breach? You get picked up, you go in, and you get back out, and you repeat it. There's no actual real consequence in stopping men from breaching the piece of paper, because
and it's frustrating for us.
Totally. I'm not saying that it's your fault. It's just the way that the system works, and the sense of entitlement that men have to continuously go after women or feel that they have this sense of entitlement to be above the law or above the piece of paper that it's not going to stop them. But I think in that case, to make it more of a success story, or to have even possibly prevented the attack from happening, to get her into a transition house or to work with your local transition house, which would be us in this area, would have been more, not only would it have helped develop the relationship between us, but it would have given that woman another resource in the community that isn't just directly related to the police department. So it's not the victim support worker or the domestic violence team or the Beat Street cops. And it gives another access and another resource, because, like you said, you couldn't stay in touch with her all the time because it's only when you're on.
Yeah. And she was given that option not only by myself and my partner, but by the domestic violence unit as well. She didn't want that. And that, again, is frustrating for us, because that's really where we want them to go.
So I'm sure you know this, but we are very linked into the transition houses. Our counselors in the domestic violence and criminal harassment unit know who they all are. And that's just a routine process.
It's totally, yeah, that's not what I'm saying. We get calls from the victim support worker and from the officers all the time. They're at our house all the time. I've met most of you in the room. I just think it would have been important for you to put it in your story when you're telling it.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Cassidy White, and I'm a female. I was crying earlier, and I feel better now. My grandpa passed away, and then I thought, if I just be better. He was in Vietnam, and his grandpa was Jamaican, and I got $500 for my birthday. My grandma said, "What do you want?" I said, "I want to go and get drunk." She said, "You will not. I'll teach you how to drink." She's native in Hawaiian. And my grandfather and his grandfather is from Jamaica. And we had this drum group. And I wasn't being mean or anything. And I just think to say it because I'm. CIA, don't you take me for your pride? I'm not your Indian anymore. You belong to white man. Hey-ah-ho, hi-ho, hi-ah-hi-oh. And it wasn't being racist or anything. Me and my mom and my son and my sisters, the cops came in. We had a 3-story house in Trout Lake. A dealer must have been living there, and they sold us the house for $800. And my son was crying, my sister was crying. I just had to hit on the kids in the living room, my bedroom, and my closet, and the kids were crying. And I don't know what happened. I just heard someone say, "Grab a knife." I'm not to the FBI or the CIA, but I do have an uncle Shane Point, he's a sergeant, Michael Jerry, he's a police officer, and his son's a police officer. I'm coming down from Seven Oaks. I want to visit my mom, and I thought I'd come here for her. I didn't know what happened, I just heard grab a knife. I closed doors on my son are screaming bloody murder, and I'm holding all three of them. And I don't know what happened, but it was crazy.
Starlight is talking about an attack in the household at the aftermath of Oka. The police entered our house and I was handcuffed and battled 16 officers in uniform and 2 undercovers that were doing the curfew check for coming in late or being on time, else you go to jail sort of thing for coming on. So that's what she was saying. We went to court and the police charged me for assault, and 9 months later the judge forced the academy to drop the charges on me, and so the academy dropped the charges on me. So that's what she's saying. CIA, don't you blame me for your problems. I'm not your Indian anymore. Solve your own problems.
Hi.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Okay, this lady.
Hi. My name is Francie Kelly. I'm a member of the Memorial March Committee, and I work down here with women. And I have a suggestion. I sense like it's true that we're sitting in a circle, which is way better, but still there's a feeling of there's something that's not working here. And one of the things I think would help would be if next meeting, I'd like to put it out there that if we had someone who was like chaired the meeting, that was not a member of the police force, that might be better, and there wouldn't be this kind of power dynamic that's happening. And another suggestion would be like what I'm getting, what's going on here is you guys are trying to tell us about what you're doing to make us feel like better about your work and acknowledging past mistakes and trying to move forward from that. And the struggle is that people here are hurting and scared of you and don't trust you because of stuff that's gone on, and they're not going to be able to, but can't move on until that stuff is addressed. And that's why people keep saying, well, what about this that happened? What about that happened? You know, and you guys are saying, well, we have to talk about that later. And that feels like people are being shut down. Yeah. So I think that what the man said that left, he left, it's too bad. He said, we need to talk about those problems. Like the good stuff, maybe we can hear it after the problems have been talked about. Because until they're acknowledged and addressed and we're assured that the violent police officers, like it's really important to say, yeah, that guy assaulted that woman on the street and it's not okay, and this is what, and you can be sure that that guy is gone. Because what all people in the community know is that he was walking down the street, he shoved that woman down on the street. The 2 officers that were walking beside him didn't do anything about it. And there's silence on the subject. So that kind of stuff, that's one example. But there's things like that the community's really hurting about. Until those problems are addressed, it's hard to hear the success stories.
So, thanks for your comments.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
I'd like to acknowledge that the kind of thug environment around the corner stores, that it really has been reduced. And I thank you for that.
Great. So thanks for your comments. Some really great suggestions. I love the one about me not being the moderator. So happy to have someone take on that role, and we'll definitely look at someone that maybe someone from the community that would like to do that, and we'd be very pleased to relinquish that. In terms of things you mentioned, yes, we will continue to provide information where we can. We always want to talk about how we can do better going forward. I'll say again, and I did say earlier about the incident with the officer pushing a woman, is that we're very sorry that happened. It was wrong, and the officer is not working there anymore, and he has been charged with assault, and now we'll have to see what happens in the trial. So I'm not sure that I can say much more than that, but we're very sorry that that happened. And the reality is, which you're pointing out, is that there's so much